All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Ovens Garage. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install a front sway bar onto my first gen. We're going to be installing this sway bar into Old Blue today. Uh, I don't have a sway bar on either of my trucks. This sway bar is courtesy of my buddy John, who he upgraded his suspension system on his truck to a Kelderman air ride in the front and the back. When you do that Kelderman air ride on the front, you delete your sway bar, and basically the sway is eaten up by the new air suspension. So luckily he gave me this for a good deal, and I'm going to be installing it on the blue truck with a goal of making the truck a bit more stable when the camper's on it. Obviously it's going to be the camper rig, so I want it to be a little bit more stable. I definitely have noticed using the red truck, the truck does sway quite a bit when you're going around turns and when you're also going over uneven bumps and uneven road. So I think this will really do a good job having the front sway bar on the truck and keeping it steady while you're going around corners and stuff. So this is the sway bar itself. He told me that he put relatively new bushings on it, so they should be all in pretty good shape. This mounts, even if your truck doesn't have a sway bar on it, the front spring perches have the bolt, or the eyelet, I guess, for the bolt, and then the holes in the frame are already there for these portions. That bolts right to your frame, so it's super easy install. So I'm going to show you under the truck where everything mounts, and then we'll get her up in there and go for a nice little test drive and see how it performs compared to before. All right, we're just out here at the truck now. I'm on the passenger side. So if you take a look at these spring perches, this is the hole that the sway bar end links mount in, and it already comes factory in all of the trucks, whether or not they had sway bars or not. All right, in the sway bar to frame bushing just mounts up on the frame. There's existing holes on both sides. One is slotted and one is not, and that's where this bracket mounts. All right, so I've got the front sway bar installed. Couldn't find torque specs for the end links or the frame mount, so I just went as tight as I could go without stripping those bolts. So you can see I've got it fully installed, and we'll go for a little test drive now. For these sway bar to frame bushings, I put some wheel bearing grease on the inside and outside of it, so that way it doesn't squeak. And then these end links have greasable fittings on them, so I can grease those. All right, my initial impressions here. First couple bumps that I went over, the suspension seemed a bit more stiff in the front, as in like when I'm going over the bumps, it was a bit more rough. But when I was cornering, I did find that it was, let me just blow through this yellow. When I was cornering, I did find that it was much more stable horizontally. So, the truck is not diving into the corners. For example, when I'm taking this right here, the front left of my truck is not diving. It actually is staying quite level. So I'm pretty hopeful that when I've got the camper on here, it's going to make the truck a bit more stable when I'm going around corners, because I can definitely feel the sway. And you can actually see in some of the videos when we're going around the roads that the sway is pretty significant with the camper on. So I'm hoping that resolves that problem. So far I'm pretty happy with what I'm feeling in terms of the cornering. So we'll see what goes on. We'll see what goes on when I've got the camper on the truck. The only thing I'm worried about, which doesn't occur too often while we're out in the backcountry camping, is when you come across larger washouts, or if you're actually off-road, which again, like I said, is not going to happen too often with the camper. But when you come across those washouts, I want to have as much suspension travel as I can. On our first trip that we went out to Side Bay, there's actually a video of me going through that washout, and you can see how much the front axle flexes as well as the rear axle as I'm going through that washout. So one of the things to note, I guess, with the sway bar is I'm probably not going to be able to do that as well, and have the suspension flex in and out of those washouts. So just something to note, give and take. If you get a sway bar, oh yeah, that is so much more stable. If you get a sway bar, you're definitely not going to be flexing your suspension as much. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the results of the sway bar installation. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I've got a lot of good content coming up in the future here. I have endless lists of things to do on these trucks, so I'll be recording everything I do on the truck, and stay tuned for the next videos. Cheers, guys.